I just want to say one word to you. Just one word.
Yes, sir.
Are you listening?
Yes, I am.
Plastics. There's a great future in plastics. Think about it.
Picture this. Every minute, equivalent of a garbage truck filled with plastic waste is carelessly dumped into our oceans. Double it, triple it. Imagine that this pollution is so pervasive, it's found in the seafood on your plate, the water you drink, and even the very air you breathe. This isn't a dystopian tale, it is today's reality. In the next 20 minutes, learn what's flooding our oceans, why it's happening, how the choices of billions, including us, fuel this toxic tide threatening life itself. Welcome to an exploration into one of the gravest environmental crises of our time. This is a story of plastic. It's everywhere. It's useful in many ways, but it's also deeply harmful. Why do our rivers shine today, not with clean water, but with floating plastic waste? How did our once vibrant oceans become vast, drifting landfills? And which countries bear the heaviest burden and, frankly, responsibility for this crisis which is unknowingly shaping our future? By 2025, our oceans hold an estimated 75 to 199 million tons of plastic and waste. Each year, 33 billion pounds, which is roughly 15 million tons of additional plastic, floods into these waters. If current trends continue, by 2050, plastics will overweigh all the fish in the sea. Floating on the surface lies the infamous Great Pacific Garbage Patch, a swirling mess twice the size of Texas, containing more than 1.8 trillion pieces of plastic, outnumbering marine life 6 to 1. Beneath the wave, microplastics penetrate every corner of the ocean, even the deepest trenches like the Mariana Trench. Remarkably, 70 to 80% of ocean plastics originates from land. Among the many rivers spanning the globe, fewer than 1,000 rivers are responsible for nearly 80% of the plastic entering oceans yearly. These rivers snake through dense, fast-growing populations and limited waste management infrastructure, especially in Asia, which contributes a staggering 81% of riverine plastic pollution. But how does the plastic end up in the rivers in the first place? About 70 to 80% of ocean plastic pollution originates from land-based sources, with rivers serving as the primary transport routes. Mismanaged plastic waste from urban areas, especially near coastlines, gets washed into rivers which then carry it to the ocean. These rivers' proximity to cities and poorly managed waste systems result in large volumes of plastic reaching the sea. Plastic waste that is improperly thrown away, dumped illegally, or littered on the streets can be blown or washed into drains, streams, and rivers. From there, the plastic often journeys to the ocean. Lightweight plastic items are especially prone to being carried by wind or rain. Rainwater and stormwater can sweep plastic debris from urban and rural land surfaces into storm drains and waterways, funneling them into rivers and ultimately oceans. During heavy rains or storms, the volume of plastic pollution washout can increase dramatically, even tenfold. Certain plastic products flush down toilets, such as wet wipes, sanitary products, and cotton buds, enter wastewater systems. Microplastics from synthetic clothing fibers also pass through wastewater treatment plants as they are too small to be fully filtered out. Plastic waste stored in poorly managed landfills or dumped near coastal areas can be blown or washed directly into the ocean. This includes plastic escaping from waste transport or landfill sites close to the shore. The principal land-based source of ocean plastics are the mismanagement of plastic waste, urban runoff, and the plastic disposal in or near waterways. Plastic pollution in oceans is driven by several intertwined causes that create a complex global environmental challenge. Plastic is produced in massive quantities worldwide, over 400 million tons per year, growing faster than any other material. It is cheap, durable, and versatile, making it widely used in packaging, single-use products, and countless everyday items. This convenience leads to excessive plastic waste. The biggest contributors to plastic pollution are single-use plastics: bags, straws, bottles, food wrappers, and packaging designed to be used once and discarded. These items represent over a third of all plastic use, and most end up in landfills or the environment due to their disposable nature. Many single-use plastics are difficult or uneconomical to recycle. These single-use plastics make up nearly 50% of marine litter. Each plastic bottle discarded carelessly, each plastic bag blown into the street, each flushed wet wipe contributes to the flood of ocean plastics. Designed for brief use, these plastics persist for hundreds of years in the environment, breaking down into microplastics, harmful to ecosystems. Animals frequently ingest or become entangled in plastic debris, leading to injury or death. As they degrade, plastics leach toxic chemicals like BPA into the marine environments. Toxic additives leach into water and organisms, disrupting reproduction and health, impacting creatures large and small, from whales to plankton, and ultimately humans. Manufacturing single-use plastics consume over 6% of global oil supply and contribute significantly to greenhouse gas emissions. In many parts of the world, waste management systems are inadequate or poorly enforced. Plastic waste is often dumped in open landfills, burned, or discarded in waterways rather than properly collected and recycled. Consumer behavior, lack of awareness about plastic pollution, and inadequate incentives for reuse and recycling contribute significantly. Many people unknowingly discard plastic improperly or underestimate the environmental impact. Plastic recycling is challenging due to the variety of plastic types, contamination, and economic factors. Rising populations and rapid urbanization drive higher consumption of plastic products without always matching improvements in waste management infrastructure. This mismanagement and imbalance leads to plastic leaking into the natural environment. Each of these factors combined makes plastic pollution a persistent and escalating problem, requiring a multifaceted and global approach to control and reverse. Collecting plastic pollution from the environment, especially from oceans and rivers, is a monumental challenge, but also a critical part of turning the tide. Multiple innovative methods are being deployed worldwide to intercept and reclaim plastic waste before it causes irreversible damage. One of the most impactful approaches is capturing plastics from rivers, the primary pathways for land-based plastic to reach the ocean. Specialized trash capture devices and barriers are installed in waterways to trap floating plastic litter, preventing it from flowing downstream. On a much larger scale, massive ocean cleanup projects deploy floating barriers and collection systems designed to collect and remove plastics from the huge swirling areas of the ocean. Groups like the Ocean Cleanup aim to rid oceans of 90% of floating plastic pollutions by 2040 through their technologies, simultaneously reducing harm to marine wildlife and ecosystems. Stopping the plastic flood requires more than just collection. It demands systematic precaution, increased awareness, and consumer behavior change towards reusable alternatives dramatically cut pollution at the source. Choosing reusable bags, bottles, and containers cuts demand and production of disposable plastics. Effective national legislations obliges producers financially and operationally for their plastic waste, encouraging design for recyclability and investment in collection infrastructure. Public participation through education, waste segregation, and volunteering in local cleanups, spreading awareness, and collective action. Sharing knowledge promotes responsible consumer behavior and community cleanups. Our daily lives, consumption habits, improper disposal, and indifference feed this plastic tide. While this is a planetary challenge, the numbers tell us where urgent intervention is needed most. Here are the main contributors of ocean plastic pollution between the year 2010 to 2019, measured in metric tons of plastic waste entering oceans annually. At number 10, Malaysia. Malaysia's coastal urbanization intensifies this challenging issue. Malaysia struggles with its own waste, and also takes in the plastic imports from abroad. Many rivers and coastal towns leak large amounts into the South China Sea. At number 9, we have Thailand. Thailand's coastline and tourism industry face plastic leakage from cities and beaches. Bangkok's Chao Phraya River is a major pathway of plastics into the Gulf of Thailand. Thailand's beaches are famous for tourism, but they are also hotspots for plastic leakage. At number 8, we have Turkey. The Mediterranean Sea suffers from heavy inflows of Turkish plastic waste. At the crossroads of Europe and Asia, Turkey is a heavy user of single-use plastics. Number 7, Vietnam. Vietnam's rivers contribute approximately 28,200 metric tons of plastic pollution each year, the result of expanding cities and challenges in the waste management alongside heavy seasonal rains. With fast industrialization and reliance on rivers, Vietnam leaks significant plastic waste. The Mekong River alone carries huge amounts of plastic into the South China Sea. Vietnam's fast growth has come at an environmental cost. Number 6, Nigeria. Africa's largest economy faces poor waste management in cities like Lagos. Heavy rains, flooding, and poor waste collection push uncollected plastic waste into the Gulf of Guinea. At number 5, we have Indonesia. Indonesia's cluster of islands faces one of the biggest marine plastic challenges, as its rivers funnel about 56,300 metric tons of plastic into the sea every year. Indonesia struggles with single-use plastics and waste burning. The Citarum River is infamous as one of the most polluted rivers on Earth. This river alone carries so much plastic, it's been called a plastic highway to the ocean. Indonesia also ranks third on 2022 year data as a contributor of plastic pollution in oceans. At number 4, we have Brazil. The vast Amazon and the other Brazilian rivers deliver around 38,000 metric tons yearly, posing a severe threat to one of the world's richest biodiversity hotspots. Brazil generates high level of plastic waste, much of it leaking from urban centers like Sao Paulo and Rio. Mismanaged waste ends up in Atlantic, impacting marine biodiversity along its vast coastline. At number 3, we have India. India generates an estimated 26,000 tons of plastic waste daily, a significant share of which leaks into the Ganga, Yamuna, Godavari, and other rivers, all flowing into the Indian Ocean. The river Ganga alone is estimated to release 315 tons of plastic waste daily. According to the latest data in 2022, India is on top of the list in dumping plastics in ocean, equaling 126.5 million kilograms in that 1 year. India leads as the world's single largest emitter of riverine plastic. Rapid urban growth, a population over 1.4 billion, and gaps in waste management infrastructure results in this sobering reality, spilling into both the Bay of Bengal and the Arabian Sea. At number 2, we have Philippines. The Philippines' waterways unleash nearly 356,300 metric tons into the ocean every year, largely due to coastal cities, inadequate waste system, and the island nation's geography. With over 7,600 islands and weak waste collection system, the Philippines sees massive leakage. Around 35% of ocean plastic globally is estimated to flow from its rivers and coastal cities. And at number 1, we have China. China's extensive rivers contribute among the highest volumes, reaching hundreds of thousands of tons, depending on river-specific data. With the world's largest population and plastic production industry, China mismanaged huge volumes of plastic waste. Major rivers like the Yangtze carry millions of tons into the ocean. In year 2022, it ranks second for its plastic contribution. Together, these 10 countries highlight both the scale of plastic crisis and the urgent need for solutions. The annual economic costs due to marine plastic pollution are estimated to be between 6 to 19 billion. The problem begins on land, but its impact is felt across our oceans. Protecting our oceans is not just about saving fish or beaches, it's about saving ourselves and giving our children a blue living planet to inherit. In essence, plastic pollution collection demands technology, policy, and people working as one. Without global cooperation, innovation, and prudent behavior, plastic will overwhelm ecosystems and human health alike. But with commitment and precautions, we can stem the plastic flood and protect our planet for generations to come. How this story ends depends on the choices we make now. Together, we can turn the tide.